Now, this has gone far enough, believe me.
Cameras, microphones, chips that track us everywhere we go. Today, we can penetrate secrets more easily than ever before, using the powerful technologies of electronic surveillance. Tools that can stop terrorists and save lives.
Without a doubt, is probably the key to a successful war on terrorism.
But what happens when the government uses surveillance against us?
Every conversation that was had 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, everything.
How far should the government be allowed to go?
So we should trust the FBI.
I absolutely believe that the American public should trust the FBI. Absolutely.
You knew as a law enforcement
Pulitzer
officer.
Prize-winning journalist Lowel Bergman and a team from the New York Times search for answers.
If you ask for too much, you are changing the quality and nature of American life under our Constitution.
Will the government become Big Brother? How much of our privacy has already been taken from us?
We've got somebody's living room. Yeah, there's somebody coming down the stairs now.
The risks and the benefits of a world where someone's watching. But when it comes to surveillance, there is another major player that knows far more about us and yet is far less regulated than the government.
The government, they're amateurs. Big business is spying on us more than we ever thought of.
The next battle in the war over surveillance when we return. Los Angeles, California.
Best signal is straightforward. Here we go, it's coming in now. Okay, we got something here. Pull forward just a tad. Stop.
Oh, yeah.
We got somebody's living room.
Danno Hanks and his partner Fred Valis are masters of the dark art of eavesdropping.
Yeah, there's somebody coming down the stairs now.
Over the past 25 years, they've tapped phones and planted bugs on both sides of the law.
Here she comes.
Working for mob bookmakers and for the FBI.
She alone?
Yeah, she's alone. She's picked up like the controller or something for the TV.
Today, they are private investigators, despite the fact that Danno admits to being a convicted felon.
It's real clear.
Why don't you scan and see if there's any other cameras in the house?
Trying to fine-tune this antenna.
With the help of a cheap piece of electronics, Fred and Danno have no problem seeing inside this private home.
Forward about 6 inches.
All across America, people have installed video cameras in the places they live. The cameras are small and cheap. Many broadcast their video signal through the air, so it can be seen on a monitor anywhere in the house.
19.
They can help deter burglaries. And they have caught nannies who abuse children. But the little cameras intended to protect us can also make us vulnerable, because their signal can so easily be intercepted.
Are you sure she's alone?
Well, there's nobody in the picture right now. I don't know if she's alone. There's nobody in the picture. She's got off the phone. She's snuggled up on the couch reading a book or something, a magazine.
Okay. People don't realize when they go in and they buy these wireless cameras that anybody that's got the $49 receiver can look into your home. And so you have now purchased the item that's going to give away your privacy. And the government didn't do it, you did it.
Today, the government is far from the only eavesdropper in our lives. We are watched, listened to, and tracked by all kinds of people. People who want to sell us things, the people we work for, even the people we live with. In fact, Americans have been using technology to eavesdrop on each other for a very long time. And most of the time, getting away with it.
I was able to find that probably the first telegraph pole that was set up was climbed by the first wiretapper.
In the 1950s, when Sam Dash was writing his book, he was surprised to discover just how much private eavesdropping was going on.
This was a private industry that was going on all over this country in every way of life that you can think of. Businesses, big industry. Well, you were buying an automobile at that time. It may still be going on today, but the closing rooms of most automobile dealers had microphones in them. And when husband and wife just couldn't agree on buying the car, the salesman said, "Why don't I let you talk about it for a while?" and left the room to a listening post and heard a whispered statement of, "Oh, only they would throw in the white wheel." And so he'd come back to make the deal. He knew exactly what they wanted. Probably the most use of it was in domestic relations. Wives were hiring private technicians to tap their offices, their husbands' offices. Husbands were tapping their own home phones in the bedroom and to hear what their wife was saying. Ethics was not a matter of concern.
So this was an epidemic.
It was an epidemic.
The obvious question to you is, do you think the same thing is going on today?
I would say yes. And I think it's common sense. Technology has advanced to the extent today that listening devices can be so disguised, and there's no way to find it.
Put down.
Yeah.
Where are you at?
Because eavesdropping is hard to detect, it is also hard for prosecutors to prove.
You want to profile her and find out.
But Danno Hanks admits he illegally tapped the phone of a young woman who became a notorious figure, the so-called Hollywood Madam, Heidi Fleiss.
How does your client plead not guilty to all charges?
Back in the 1990s, Danno was hired by one of her competitors.
Plugged her phone, listened to the conversation, and after the first, 10, 20 minutes, you knew she was a madam who ran hordes. The bugging of Heidi Fleiss's phone was completely illegal at the time I did it. I was strapped for cash, just like somebody else, and I got approached to do it, and I did it.
Danno escaped prosecution because the U.S. attorney declined to prosecute him. But for now, in the state of California, there is nothing illegal about intercepting wireless video. With their little receiver, Danno and Fred can spy on people all over town.
There she is.
This woman is actually not a helpless victim. She is a friend of Danno's who set this scene up as a demonstration. But right around the corner, the private eyes pick up another camera signal from an empty house. And this time, it is not a setup.
Stop, we're getting something. Back up a little. Stop, right there. That's another camera. There's a camera right here. I'm not sure which house this is coming from, but I think it's the one right over here. Can you see the address, Dan?
Yeah, I think it's the one.
Why don't you run that and see who owns it?
We go on the county recorder's website.
Just a decade ago, searching public records on people's homes and businesses meant spending days at different archives. Now it takes a few seconds on the internet.
I got his email address, and he graduated from University in 1990, so he's a young lawyer. She's at home, he's at work, and they got money. Born in 1965, I got his social here.
The average person today is as vulnerable as if they were standing naked in the middle of the Super Bowl. Everybody who wants to, with very little money, can get everything they want about you.